Is the Did you have an expectation about where this team would be at this point? And if so, have they met your expectation for where they would be right now?
I was terrified, to be honest with you, with all that's transpired and with how young we are, having only one 4-year senior in the lineup. I mean, these opponents that are in our league that we're playing against, and again, like I never realized, I knew they'd be older with the transfer portal and all that. Like Bentley's entire starting line, the 6 guys they put out are all grad transfers. I mean, it's unbelievable how the landscape has changed, and just the uncertainty made me uneasy. Maybe uneasy is better than terrified, but it was. We picked a bad year not to have a senior class, not to be as old as we can possibly be, and but with that, we have a pretty game group. Like they've got some physicality to them. They're a joy to coach. They really want to be good, and they're not fun to play against. Probably the most might be collectively. They're not the biggest team we've ever had, but they might be the most physical team. Now, we were unable to be as physical as we wanted to be against Sacred Heart because we played for a freaking 100 days and 101 nights. Again, like it was ridiculous. And so we just lost some legs, and then we lost a couple guys, and we had to adjust our style. But as far as our group, the only disease that we suffer from will get better, and it's age. We're all going to get older. They're going to, as long as they play, they're going to get more experience. And to be honest with you, if you look, my brother called me. He's giving me the raspberries. That's nice. Raspberries. That's a nice thing to say, isn't it? And nice way to frame it. He's going like he goes. You got to get rid of all your Saturday games. He goes like on Friday. He goes, you guys are a top 10 team on Friday. And you look at our record on Friday, we lost to Denver. That's it. We've won all the rest of Friday. Now, Saturday's been a different story. But what happens from Friday to Saturday, like we get warned, we exert a lot of energy, a lot of battery acid on Friday, and we don't have quite as much coming back on Saturday. Plus, we win on Friday. The teams that we're playing at are pushing back harder on Saturday. And we need to get older. We need to get more experience. We need to get a lot of those young guys in the weight room this spring and get them some man strength. But I think the biggest thing right now is it's a tough situation to be going through. But I mean, if we were going through it with a soft group who was just allowing these teams to kick sand in their face every weekend, it would be unbearable. It would be miserable. But that's not the case. Even the other day, our 4th game in 5 nights. I mean, like we're down 3-0, 2 minutes left. I mean, we haven't scored a goal in 58 minutes. We're not going to score 3 in the last 2. What do you think, boys? Should we pull the goalie? F yeah. And we pull the goalie, and we score a goal in the last minute of the game. But I love that fight, that spirit. Like we're not quitting. You know what I mean? And so all that's in place, and it's going to be tough. The landscape has changed. The rich will get richer. The good transfers will go up the transfer portal. The second level guys and what we're saying is like our league is getting a lot of transfers that are at the big schools, and they're not. Some of these players aren't good enough. They're good enough to play in the rosters of these teams, but they're not good enough to play in top 6 roles and on the power play against these NHL draft choices. And their agents want them in those roles, so they're trickling down to the teams more in the middle of the food chain, and making them deeper, older, stronger, and. Like I look at our group and I'm going, okay, like we've had to reinvent ourselves. I've had to reinvent myself several times over the last 25 years. Okay, how do we deal with this? Because we're not going to get transfers. We're not going to get a 5th year for our players. How are we going to deal with it? Well, one thing, we got to get a senior class. We got to get a year older. And the other thing, I think, when we're playing against these teams that are deep and old if you watch Bentley when they were here, if you watch Sacred Heart, they are so much more skilled than they used to be. Not as big and hard and heavy as they used to be, but they're way more skilled because they're getting these skill guys down from the power schools. And we are going to have to get as old as we can, as experienced we can, and we're going to have to play a style that is not fun to play against. And right now, this group, they are not fun to play against. If you go to retrieve a puck and we've got our legs and you touch that puck first, there's going to be a price to pay. And to me, we need to get better as competitive as we can. But we're going to have to be a team that really plays with a physical edge, because we're not going to outskill these teams. So if we can, outcompete them, outwork them, out-physical them, and where we've seen in a lot of these games late is these teams, they tire of it. Bentley was ahead 4-1 or 5-1 late, and they go, okay, we got this thing. Well, we just kept coming, and they start arriving late. Pretty soon we chip one in, 2, 3, and it's 5-4, and we're pulling our goalie and making things pretty interesting. So I guess what I'm saying is, for us, we're trying to the college athletics is the landscape has changed forever and changed significantly. Okay, we're limited on what we can do to counter those changes, and obviously we need a senior class. But along with that, when all these teams are getting deeper and older, we got to find a way to win. And how can we win? Well, we're not going to outskill them. You know what I mean? And from a pride standpoint, our coaching staff has got to say we're not going to be outcoached. We're not going to be outcoached, and our players are going to go, we're not going to get outworked. We're not going to get outcompeted, and so that's kind of where we're going with this. And it's been tough, but I really enjoy. How many guys have you watched us play? How many? Have you? I'd like to be honest with you. They entertain the hell out of me because they try hard. They get into people, and that's if you like speed, if you like collision in your sports, we've got some of that. We've got some of that in our DNA, and in our recruiting right now. We're not looking for guys that, hey, it'd be nice to get great talent, but to say we're going to go recruit a bunch of talent that's going to be better than all the teams we're playing. No, we're going to go recruit the best talent we can, but talent with heart and talent with some grit and a little bit of nastiness and competitiveness. You know what I mean? That's where hockey is right now. We got Canisius coming in here. They're another team. I don't think they brought in a freshman. Sacred Heart didn't. They brought in all guys off the transfer portal. Canisius, pretty much the same thing. We're going to see another old, deep, experienced team, and that's fine. And we're going to play 2 games, and after those 2 games, we're going to be a little bit more experienced as well. And biggest thing with us, for me, with our guys, is don't let anybody outwork you. Don't let anybody outcompete you and out physical you either. I mean, you have to have something on your side of the ledger other than a hot goalie. You got to have something consistently, and I think that's something that we can control. Personally, I think the Mountain West champion football game, I think those 2 teams, they're lucky they're not playing Air Force, because we got a tough bunch of kids that compete. They are not easy to play against. They're not fun to play against. Not that San Diego and Utah State don't have something, but I think if you looked at either one of those teams and asked them, would you rather be playing who you're playing, or would you rather be playing Air Force? And if they're telling the truth, I don't think they'd rather be playing Air Force.
And one thing that has been really working for you guys lately is the penalty kill. And you talk about out physicaling and being tough to play against. How have you taken that from 5-on-5 to when you're 4-on-5? Because you guys have killed off a lot of penalties in a row.
Yeah, I mean, we still need to win more face-offs. I mean, we were just losing face-offs. So you lose the face-off on the power play or on the penalty kill. and then the next minute is shot blocking practice. It's miserable. You win the tap, you dump it down 200 feet. Now you kill 28 seconds. You get a chance to get out in the neutral zone and work your neutral zone defense, and so it's a work in progress. But our penalty killing against Sacred Heart was outstanding. We still allowed too much time in the end zone. But it's outstanding. Coach Doyle does a fantastic job with our penalty kill unit, and it's getting better. But we still need to minimize the time in zone. We're playing too much. We're playing too much in our zone. We got to win more faceoffs, and we got to take advantage of clears. If you don't, and what I mean by clear is when you get it on your stick and you can get it 200 feet, you got to get it 200 feet. I always say I'm an old baseball player. Like, you get that thing on your stick and you give it back to them, it's like giving somebody 4 outs in an inning. You do it twice, it's like 5 outs in an inning, and eventually it's gonna end up in the back of your net.
Coach, did you guys benefit at all from playing 4 out of 5 against Sacred Heart? Did you get anything out of that, or?
We got 3 guys injured. I mean, no, I don't. I wouldn't want to do it again, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do it. That's right. I was just talking to Chris Mayotte, and and Chris goes, "Oh man, we just had 2 weeks. We just had 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off sucks." And I'm going, "Would you rather have 4 games in 5 days?" He goes, "Good point. I feel better about myself right now." Yeah.
So after this weekend, you got a long break, and I'm curious what you'll do during that time off.
Recruit. And we're going to be. That's an opportunity for us to get out, get around, get some recruiting. We recharge our batteries. I mean, one of the great things about what we get to do for a living is we get to do different things. We don't do the same thing all the time. Sometimes we're coaching our team. Sometimes we're coaching summer camps. Sometimes we're in the spring. We're in the weight room. Sometimes we're recruiting. And. You never really get away from it, but I always look forward to the holiday break as a time to get out and get into some rinks and watch some games where I watch some games where it's other coaches that have stomach acid and not me.
Yeah. So no Christmas shopping for you then.
Christmas shopping? Oh, don't worry, Mom will take care of that. She got the credit card, and the Serratore clan will not be. They ain't gonna be just chunks of coal for them. Trust me. Yeah, trust me. Yeah. Now Santa will be there. He will be there. Yeah.
Obviously, seem like you do have a great personality, but I want to ask you about when you're coaching during these practices, during these games. What do you like when you're out there? What do you want your players to see regarding you? Regarding
me? First of all, if you come to one of our practices, you obviously ain't been to one of our practices. I don't do a hell of a lot anymore. I follow Joe around, Jock around, Andy, Demi. I go talk to the goalies. I'm a goalie guy. To be honest with you, I've had to reinvent myself many times over the course of the last 40 years, and right now, I've got a very capable, very competent, a very talented coaching staff, and I let them coach, and I oversee things, and they're all my former players, and Joe Doyle's not one of my former players, but he might as well be. He's been with me that long, and they know how I want things done. Philosophically, we're pretty much all on the same sheet of music. And I let them do their thing. I'll coach them. I'll bump them if there's something that I don't like, and that doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, I'm telling them I'm liking what I see. It's also given me an opportunity as in regards to being the guy that's directly blowing the whistle, running the drills, and all that type of thing. It's given me a chance to be a bit of a good cop, because you can't always be that when you're running the show. Gives me a chance to go around and grab a guy one-on-one. We're doing his own coverage drill, and his angle's not the way we want it. It gives me a chance to do some of those things. And I've never enjoyed it more than I'm enjoying it right now. We got a great bunch of young men in our locker room that really care. They do, and they try hard every day. They compete hard in the games. They're giving it everything they got, and I got a coaching staff comprised of my former players and I take great pride and satisfaction and gratification in just watching those guys work. They're like, hey, Joe Doyle's is like and Andy are like my little brothers. Demi's like one of my sons. Jock like one of my sons. I mean, so they're family, and I get to come to work every day, work with them, but as far as me and what I do, I'm there. I'm involved every day. I'm in the video sessions. I'm on the ice, but to be honest with you, my guys are. You know what? I guess maybe the safest way to say it, or maybe the way that might translate the best, is like a football coach. Does a football coach his entire team? He's got offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators. He's got this. Hey, he's got his fingers in it, and he's watching, and he's so. Hey, I like this. I like that. If there's a big play late in the game, you maybe are going to veto your offensive or defensive coordinator and say, hey, I want this for this position. And that's basically where I'm at. I'm overseeing the whole thing, and my guys are doing the work. And like right now, I like the direction of the whole thing. Our culture's good, the environment, the atmosphere, all that type of thing. Joe's doing a great job, like you mentioned, on the penalty kill. Andy and Jock are doing a great job with our young power play, and I like the direction things are going, and I'm having a lot of fun. And I do think we're going to figure this thing out, and I think eventually, I really believe there's going to be a happy ending to the story. But it's tough right now. She's tough going right now. It's challenging. We are. We're up against a lot of depth and experience every weekend. But what doesn't defeat you makes you stronger, and we'll stick with it, and we'll stay positive as long as they keep giving everything they got.
From your own individual standpoint, you had a pretty productive weekend against Sacred Heart. Did you feel like that was something that you were building towards? Did you like the shots that you were taking, the way that you were playing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think too much about points. I'm not much of a point guy or like a skill guy. I kind of just try to do my job on the defensive side of things, and if an offensive opportunity happens and the puck happens to go into net, all the better.
If like Canisius just asked you this week if they could play 4 games in 5 days against you, would you?
Yeah, that was tough. I haven't done that in a while. I think the boys would be up for it. It'd be another fun challenge. It was definitely taxing on your body and mentally, just the emotions that ride throughout just 60 minutes of one game, and to go through 4 of them in a 5-day span is tough. I don't know if the team would love that, but I can't say that we'd say no to the challenge.
And Frank's talked about how you guys want to come out and impose your will physically. I think I'm paraphrasing on that. As a player, how fun is it when you have a mentality like that, where you're going to come out and you're going to hit guys?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's kind of, hockey's a pretty violent sport, violent collision sport, and that's what everyone really would like to do, is go out and kind of impose your will on other guys and throw your body around. It's always more fun when like a big hit happens and the guys get up on the bench and momentum swings and the energy's high, and it just kind of brings you like why you played hockey, why you fell in love with it. Yeah, and we have a physical team. We have a really strong team. Guys like Jake Marty, Austin Schwartz, and Bennett Norland, Willie Rhyme, like they're just heavy guys that can, like you said, impose their will on people.
As one of the leaders on this team, how do you feel like you guys are coming along? I know the results, especially on Saturdays, are not where you guys want it to be, but you're with this team day in and day out. You see the growth not only in the games but also in the practices. Is everybody coming along at the rate that you would like to see?
Yeah, I mean, you'll hear Frank talk a lot about the fact that we're young, and he's right. We are young, and we're playing against schools that have these 5th, 6th year guys with a lot of experience, and we may not have that experience, but we have so much heart, and we just have guys that are getting better and better and better every day. And we always say like process over outcome, and that process is really coming along. And yeah, we would have liked to maybe pick up more points against Sacred Heart and maybe minimize opportunities that we give to other teams on Saturdays and kind of close out weekends better. But as long as the process stays on track and everyone's staying with their heads up high and continuing to work hard and get better and just showing up to the rink with that growth mindset, that's all we can really ask for. So yeah, I'd say, I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but I'm definitely pleased with the way that things are progressing.
When you talk about going up against these older teams like Sacred Heart, definitely was. Does it manifest itself more from a mental side or more from a physical side? Where do you think you guys need to, I guess, age a little bit over the next few months? Is it the mental side or the physical side?
As for the physical side, I honestly don't think we struggle there that much. Maybe, yeah, they have older guys, but I'd be hard pressed to find a team in the Atlantic Conference that's tougher or more physical than we are. Mentally, I wouldn't say we're that far behind. I just say it comes down to experience, and you're down one goal in the end of the game, and maybe some guys are panicking, or they're just thinking like they're thinking twice, and they're overthinking plays when they don't need to be, and that comes with experience. That'll come towards the end of the season when we have enough games that are close down the stretch, and guys are comfortable in those spots that they'll find themselves in.
Specifically, what is going on Saturdays? Because Friday, it seems like no problem. You hit them in the mouth, go from there. But Saturdays are just, it's a different beast for you guys, a different game. Can you take us behind the curtain and tell us what's going on with that?
You know, I don't know. And to be honest, I don't think our Saturdays are like terrible hockey. I don't think we're putting together like bad contests, but it's just every now and then we just small hiccup here and there, and it kind of giving up goals late in the period or late in the game. And earlier in the year, we had a few 6-on-5 goals that we let up, and it's tough. It kind of takes the wind out of your sails. But like I said, process over outcome, and we'll continue to build and gain that experience in those close games and gain that experience on. You win on a Friday, you're at home, you have to close out on a Saturday and get the weekend sweep. So, yeah, I think experience will just bring us that.
Canisius this weekend, what do they bring to the table?
They're a good team. They're skilled. Last year they were a good team, and they came in here and we swept them out in the weekend. And you know, we kind of focus on ourselves more than we focus on other teams. We're kind of looking inside and saying, well, let's look at Sacred Heart and what did we do right, what did we do wrong. Let's minimize what we did wrong and optimize what we did correctly. For Canisius, it's the same thing. It's just our power play can be better. Our penalty kill can always be better. Our 5-on-5 play, our face-off play, our neutral zone play, everything can always be better. So we're kind of looking inside rather than outside.
And then finally for me, with you guys heading into the winter break right now, is there a different mentality you guys have to have? I know finals are next week, but then you have basically 2 weeks off. Is that how do you keep it focused, especially when you're basically midway through the season?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's tough going into a break. Guys are excited to go home, see their families, girlfriends, whatever it may be. But I think we have a really mature group in the sense that when you're down at the rink or when you're preparing for a game, everyone is totally dialed in on hockey. And with finals coming up, it's tough to balance sports and school, especially at a school like this. It has a pretty rigorous curriculum. And just when you get down to the rink, your only focus is hockey. And you can take care of school whenever you're away from the rink. But when it's time to go to work, you go to work.
What's going to be your toughest final and why?
That's tough. I got a lot of tough finals. You know, I'm honestly sweating my papers and my projects worse than my finals right now. I got a couple papers due this week that I got to get done. But toughest final, who knows? I'd honestly say statistics, just because I'm not a whiz with Excel or anything like that. So I'm probably going to have to teach myself it all over again and have the boys help me out a little bit in my studying.
I think you said you're not the most skilled player in the beginning. But is it one of those things where you almost feel like you need to score because your team is so young? I mean, even off a face-off, if you get the puck, you fire it right away. Is that kind of your mindset of like, I got to do whatever we can to generate some offense?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, we have a lot of guys that can generate offense. Will Gavin is always a scoring threat. Willie Rhyme, he was gone for a little bit with injury, but he's back. He's as lethal as it gets, and his shot is crazy. And just guys that can produce offense. Mitchell Digby as a freshman, Brandon Cook. Like we have a lot of guys that can do it. And I don't look to myself as a guy that like, oh, we need to get, like, I need to do something, because that's not at all my forte or my skill set. I'm more of a pucks out of the zone and give it to the guys that can actually score goals. I think I've been getting the puck given to me at good times. Brandon Cook on the power play has been sliding it over to me. He does a really good job of bringing guys in and then moving the puck. And no, I just put the puck to the net, and you never know what can happen.
What will you do during the break?
Christmas break, I'm going home. I'm just gonna go back, get some well-needed sleep, and it's tough to keep up like muscle mass and lift as much as you can during the year, and eating like as much as you can is tough. So probably go home, sleep, hang out with friends, lift as much as I can, eat as many homemade meals as I can before I come back here, and kind of just recharge the batteries before the spring semester.
When you're playing a team on back-to-back nights, probably get annoyed by some of the opponents that you play, maybe hear them talk quite a bit. But playing a team 4 times in 5 nights, I'm sure you heard them talk quite a bit. Maybe you guys did too. What were some of the chirps that you heard, either from your side, other side, that were so memorable from that series?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, Sacred Heart's pretty classy. They got some good guys over there, and some of them I grew up playing with from New Jersey. But nothing really sticks out too much. I mean, there's constant chatter like after the whistles, guys, and just like extra shoves and little things just to kind of get under your skin. Nothing really sticks out, or nothing that really got under my skin too bad. But I mean, Sacred Heart's every team in college hockey for the most part. These kids grew up playing hockey their whole lives, and they grew up around like good coaches, good players, good people. And I mean, I'd be pretty hard pressed to find a college hockey player that runs his mouth and is just like a jerk. So, Sacred Heart was a pretty classy team, and they didn't really have too many, I guess, profane things to say.
You mentioned you weren't necessarily too focused on putting up the points, but you got as many now in, I think, 14 games as you did your first season. I think it was 22 or something like that. So going away from the points, how would you say that? How would you describe your game? Do you model it after anybody, maybe in the NHL or anybody like that?
Yeah, my whole life I grew up kind of small, so I needed to use whatever physicality I had and play smart defense, because there was guys that were bigger and faster than me. And as I grew up, I got bigger and stronger, and I loved the physicality of hockey. It's something that always fires me up. I like to get in that mindset before games that I'm just going to be as physical as I can, and like we said earlier, impose your will. And I again, with the offensive talents, maybe not so much, but I love the way that Scott Stevens played. Growing up, I'm from New Jersey. He was a Devils guy. I don't really remember watching him play in person that much as a kid, just because I was born in '98, and that was towards the tail end of his career. But it was his blue line, and he was so physical, and he got pucks out of the zone, and he was just a good leader and someone you didn't really want to mess with on the ice. So yeah, I'd say I model it after him. I like in the NHL, I like big, strong, like sound defensive defensemen that kind of just take their role seriously and do their job on the defensive side of things.
Frank's very clear about the style he wants you guys to play, and physical and all out. Is that fun to be kind of turned loose as a team? Like, is there a vibe that's created because of that?
Yeah, it's kind of just like chip on your shoulder mentality. And Frank, Joe Doyle, Andy Berg, Jacques Lamoureux, Chad Demers, all our coaches, they give us, we're so well prepared for all our games. So they give us systems that we stick to for the most part. But like the free reign that they give you of just like, you dump the puck in, go in there and make that defenseman never want to go back.